Well, forget the fiscal cliff. How about a container cliff and what that may do to the economy? Time's running short, and a nasty standoff between longshoremen union workers and their companies could cripple the nation. Unless the two groups reach a deal, union workers plan to strike this weekend. We reached out to the unions involved but haven't heard back yet. Steve Moore, he's here with us. Steve, if the strike happens, at some reports, estimates say $1 billion per day hit to the economy.
Yeah, there's no question, Eric, if you really, and you used the right word, cripple the economy, because this really could. I mean, the ports in this country are really the backbone of our trade, both our exports and imports, Eric. And I've read estimates of about $100 billion or more comes in and out of these ports where you could have these strikes. So it could be very devastating. It could, can reverberate throughout the economy. Retailers, wholesalers, food distributors, everybody would be affected by this strike if it goes forward.
Sure. Exactly what do the unions want, Steve, and what is management willing to do? How far apart are these two groups?
Well, it's interesting, Eric. They're not really normally in a dispute with the unions. It's about wages and it's about benefits. But in this case, really, it's not. What the unions are objecting to, according to the media reports that I've been seeing, is that they object to new kinds of work rules and new kinds of efficiencies that the port systems want to put in place to make the ports more productive, to lower costs. That's what's happening. And Eric, you cover these markets every day.
Sure.
That's happening in every industry in America.
Sure.
And they're objecting to that kind of putting in machinery, doing types of things that might take one worker rather than two. That reduces costs. It's good for consumers, but the unions hate it.
Steve, I think back a couple of the big, the hostess strike earlier the year, the big Thanksgiving strike that was going to happen on the West Coast at the airports during the busy travel time, the Chicago teachers during back-to-school time. These unions, with relatively few amount of people, workers, laborers, members, are really crippling big portions of the American economy.
Well, and it's because I think they're riding on a high horse right now, Eric. Let's face it, the unions had a good election in 2012 in November, and now they want payback. And I think one of the reasons they've been emboldened is they feel that they have politicians in high places, not just the White House, but in Congress and some of the state legislatures, that will back them in all of these demands. So I think politics is enwrapped in all of this, but it's a very dangerous situation, Eric, because not only could it really hurt the economy, but also when you think about the kind of industries that you were just mentioning that are union dominated. I mean, think about the ones that have the heaviest concentration of unions. Auto companies, steel mills, the public employee unions, the postal service. I mean, what do all those industries have in common? They're not very productive. They're not making money. The postal service is virtually bankrupt, as the car companies were a few years ago. So I think this is a very dangerous game.
Steve,
and I think the only way they can succeed is going through the political route and getting help from the White House and others.
All very reliant on those ports as well. Very quickly, about a half a minute or so, can President Obama, people are asking Obama to step in, can he do anything here?
He's got a National Labor Relations Board that has intervened in a lot of these types of cases. So I think the answer to that question is yes. I think the White House could intervene on behalf of the unions because they're the ones who elected the president. So this is an ongoing story. It's a very dangerous situation, and we don't know what the outcome is going to be, but I think it's a damn shame to come right now when the economy is so fragile.
Sure. Up to, I think some of the estimates are up to 65% of America's international trade may be at risk. Steve Moore, thank you very much.